let us start because we have about 23 people and we are 5 minutes into the hour. So I may not be visible, but anyways, I'm audible, I'm sure.
Yes, you're audible, Saurabh. You're audible.
Okay. Let us start. Good morning, everybody. This is Saurabh Mukherjee, and I'm part of SkillEarn, an organization of learning and development, a tech ed platform, if we want to call ourselves. And we are particularly, concentrating on organization resilience, which is an ISO 22316, standard. And I will say it is. Can people be on mute? I'm talking to the organizers. Okay. So, in terms of the organization resilience in today's world, I will say, in the last 120 days or rather 180 days now, since we are in June, what a year it has been so far, 2020. And frankly speaking, like many of our panelists also believe that it's like hitting the reset button. Like, God has done that for us, or, nature for a sense. Okay. So from that perspective, bringing you the WOW, which is the weekly online webinar series. And we are concentrating on 6, I can say, very important facets of organization resilience, right from the people who are the backbone or the base of any organization to the place, and it's logically taking a sequence. We called it place because it becomes much easier. It's like people, place, process, and technology, 3 Ps, like we call it in the corporate world. So place is like the workplace. Once the people is there, you need to find out where do we need to, host the people to do their work. And from there, what they are supposed to do is guided by the process. How they will do it, the underlying stream is technology. Without money, no business can actually sustain, and hence the finance part of the business. And lastly, but not the least, is if things doesn't move, including people, then nothing. We have seen that for the last 90 days, things have stopped. So if things doesn't move, people do not move. It's a crazy world. So welcome to this new normal, if you want to call it. And we are proud to present our WOW weekly, webinar on people today on the 20th of June. And, this is a great event, number one. And let us see that, how to make it more interesting. Keep your questions coming, comments flowing on the social media. We are there on Facebook, on LinkedIn, and also on Twitter. So the mails that you might have received, the emails right on the top corner are all the links, just in case you wanted to know where to go. So use it as much as possible. Tell your friends if you have actually gathered, some knowledge from today's webinar. I'm sure with the kind of panelists, very rich panelists that we have got, and I'm so thankful to each one of them that being leaders, taking their individual time out on a weekend, they have actually accepted the invite to be part of this forum. So thanks to all the leaders. So a little bit about in terms of we have for SkillEarn. We believe there are 2 words in it, the skill and the earn. Basically, you do the first one to get to the next. If the skilling learned and living earned is what we believe in. Our cornerstones are knowledge, confidence, and with both of them, success. So we are into 6 verticals. I will not like to go too deep into it, from organization resilience, which covers organization behavior, organization infrastructure, management of the risk, technology infrastructure, and continuous improvement. It's a complete cycle. the emerging technologies from be it your cybersecurity, we are dealing with digital marketing, and the third one, which is very important in today's world and has been relevant for the last 1 decade, is data sciences. We have so much of data, we don't know what to do with it. The next one is into leadership and management, from design thinking mindset to problem solving with help of our partners. All of these courses and all of this, I will say, global certifications are coming with help of our partners. So, get in touch with us and we can help you. Coming to the STEM and STEAM, STEM has been there for more than a decade, but India is just realizing the potential of it in the studies for right from kindergarten to beyond. We are doing robotics and electronic circuitry. You may think that this always applies to somebody who has grown up. Yes, we have seen it that way, but today even the kindergarten students are doing this to the best available knowledge to them. So we are helping in that initiative through another startup from Bangalore. The linguistic programs, those who can understand and communicate in English as a business language, uh, only happens to be about 5 to 7% of the Indian population. Let's also think about how to bring the change for the other 95 is our, I will say, mission. Finally, to the life skills, I think we think that way that the life skills are very important, right from finance for life. We earn a lot and we burn a lot also. So somewhere the Warren Buffett statement of we have to spend after we have saved is going through the window. So there needs to be some opportunity to learn over there. The women's security part of it, we are actually actively doing it with one of our partners from United States, and we will come back very shortly on this. How to be street smart and the integrity and empathy, which I guess the world is going to be a very crude place without all of this. So our dealing for this particular month or the flavor of the wow season is organization resilience, and we have two of the best certification courses. It's a global certification courses from ICOR, which is International Consortium for Organization Resilience, based out of United States. And it's a knowledge body and a global authority on organization resilience. We have two of the courses, which is CORM. That means to your name, you can get a certified organization resilience manager, or a CORE, which is a certified organization resilience expert. These are the two courses which is available, and we are the authorized training partner and the exclusive partner to this geography. So please get in touch if you are wanting to do the courses. So with that, I will, introduce the panel to you. And in terms of, let us understand the theme for today. The theme for today is people. There are two themes. The underlying to that is number one, people resilience. The resilience of people. Yes, the armed forces teaches it really well. So it's a DNA for business success, and that's why people coming out of our armed forces staff who are coming out of both short service and long service commission. You have seen them; they are very particular in their corporate world, and they are very successful. Also, something to learn around, and this can be the theme of our discussion today. What have we learned in the last 120, 180 days? Theme two: striking the balance between employee continuity and business leadership. So there has to be some kind of a balance being done, and our panel will very nicely walk us through in terms of what can be the best way possible in the future. So let's see a little bit about our panelists. Our panelists include. We are really, first of all, very thankful that they have taken their time out on this, and it is Shruti Machru. She will be the moderator on this panel, and she is the founder of Eldin. She's the director and founder for Eldin, which is a training development course for individuals. She is NLP, DISC, British Council certified. She has won umpteen amount of awards, and you can see that on her profile, both in LinkedIn as well as in Facebook. And the best part about her is that she has brought about a change in about 100,000 lives. So that's a great number. So with that, I can say that let's go to our panel, starting with SK Raja. Raja is has been my mentor and ex boss also. He is from G and Genpact. Currently the CEO from SynchroServe. He is founded and he is leading the initiative for SynchroServe. Also the chairman for Singapore Synchro Skills. There is a partnership, joint venture between the two companies. So you can understand that doing a relentless effort in this field takes how much of I will say strain, and he has withstand that, and the people are the testimony to what a change that he has brought to the overall society. He is an expert in telecom, IT services, BPO, skill development, you name it, he has it. And his current mission is to bring about that same change in about 500,000 people by 2025. That's a vision. That's a vision. Okay, coming to Shilpa Lemay, she is the CEO of Sunbeam and founder for the same company. Worked for about 25 years, global experience across industry. She is an applied behavioral scientist, an international leadership coach, a psychotherapist, which is the most important thing. I think today we are losing our sanity. So thanks, she is between us. You can take her help with a demonstrated history of facilitating global leadership programs. She does it really well. So guys, please look into it if you want to. And one of our panelists is Surojit Banerjee, head of HR for SpiceJet. Yes, the people who let us fly in comfort, and that's SpiceJet for you. Surojit Banerjee is the Senior Vice President and Head of HR at SpiceJet Limited. And he has the privilege of getting exposure to HR and has been in the industries like manufacturing, service hotels, pharmaceuticals, which is again important today, telecom, consulting, and airlines healthcare. So very vast experience and rich one. Coming to Ajit Kumar Padi, and he is the director for NASSCOM. So yes, ladies and gentlemen, he is the director of NASSCOM for transformation projects and program at SSC NASSCOM. About 25 years of 25 years of experience in leadership and management. We are ex-colleagues in operational excellence, process excellence, and customer loyalty. So some of the things that we need to learn from Ajit. Finally, last but not the least, a great important individual amongst us is Aman Rajabali. Aman is the Vice President of NHRD Network. It's a network of HRD professionals. So those who are from the HRD background, please reach out to Aman. He has about 25 years of experience in HR, managing consulting, runs the Kabir Profile Solutions, providing advisory services to corporates and executive search and training companies. In his 20 years of active involvement with the NHRD Pune chapter, he has been its General Secretary and Vice President. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, I will pass it on to Shruti to moderate our session for today. So Shruti, all yours.
Thank you, Saurav. Thank you for this warm introduction. And it is indeed a great honor to have the dignitaries like these here and to moderate this session. Without much ado, I would now like to start because I can't wait to hear their opinion. Let me start directly with the questions. Like Saurav has already explained, we've got two themes for today. So my first question is from the first theme of people resilience, DNA for business success. And Shilpa, since you have such rich experience with understanding the psychology of people, my first question is to you, Shilpa. And I would like to understand from you as to what are the changes that employees will experience in this crisis period. and what is the role of people managers in helping
यार अभी अभी
employees
पूछने का
to
टाइम नहीं है,
adapt
एक काम करो, मैं आपको
the new way of
Oops.
working?
I think, Shruti, you may need to repeat that because I don't think
sorry,
even
I'm
I or
sorry.
the others would have heard that. I'm so sorry, Shruti. You may need to
No
repeat
problem,
that.
no problem. I'm just looking at a
Saurabh,
way
could you
to.
please go on mute? Saurabh, could you please mute yourself?
I'm sorry, I'm sorry, my
It's
mistake.
okay. It's part of
Okay.
life. It's okay, Saurav. Normal part of this life.
Yeah, this life, to be
Yeah,
precise.
yeah, yeah. It's all right.
Right.
Yeah.
So, Shilpa,
So,
again, the question is, what are the kind of changes that we are seeing in the employees? What do you think they are experiencing in this crisis period? And
okay,
what should be the role of people's manager in terms of helping the employees to adapt new way of working, like we just saw?
sure. Saurav, I'd like you to put up my slide, please, now. The slide that I'd sent you. Yes, please. So if all of you can just have a look at this slide. I mean, before COVID, this was maybe around Feb sometime, all the organizations were actually, at the level of self-actualization or esteem. This is Maslow's hierarchy of needs that I've put up here. And all the organizations were, into actualizing the potential of their employees. Employees were coming into the organizations wanting recognition, also wanting to actualize potential. So everyone was, before COVID, working at this blue level over here. The moment COVID hit very, very badly, somewhere around March, you would have seen that people just dipped. Everyone went into this red thing. Maslow's hierarchy of needs went into the red thing around food, shelter, all of this. Physiological needs needed to be met first. People were wondering that, I mean, where am I going to get my food from if I'm shut off at home? Safety needs came into play simultaneously. A few organizations first started off with work from home. Eventually, everyone did it. And we were looking at these two needs of safety, personal security, health, and also food. If you remember, the moment our first lockdown was announced in March, there was Modi ji announced it, and immediately there was a rush in the shops in the evening. If you remember, there were huge lines, people stocking up. In the US, there was a shortage of toilet paper. You remember all of that, right? And after that, we moved to the next one, which is love and belonging. You had a lot of people saying, oh, wow, now I'm speaking to some old school friend of mine who I've not spoken to in years, or I've spoken to my relative who I've not spoken to in years. And people are kind of doing that. That happened through, I think, April, that started somewhere. And I think in May, it kind of hit us that, oh gosh, this is not going to end. We started off somewhere thinking that, okay, this is going to end soon. But if you ask me right now, we're in a situation where we're like, we don't know when this is going to end. And organizations are now pushing for esteem and self-actualization that, hey guys, this is going to be a work from home. TCS, for example, has asked 75% of their employees to work from home for the next 1 year. They've closed one of their biggest offices in Manyata Park in Bangalore, and the same results are expected out of employees. But the fact is that what we're missing out over here, and this is addressing the second question, Shruti, that what do managers need to do in HR for employees? One thing I'm seeing with myself, and as I talk to other leaders too, I'm seeing that people are working much more now because it's home. You don't have to commute. You don't have the little coffee gossip sessions. You don't have the cigarette breaks. You're not having the little chats before a meeting. Arey boss kya bolega types. You're not having the post. Look at what this person said. And that's very refreshing. That actually creates love and belonging. So the love and belonging aspect is actually missing. If we want to get to esteem back in organizations and self-actualization, where people start performing to potential, according to me, the aspect of love and belonging will have to be dealt with first. Because people are doing these Zoom chats, people are doing Microsoft Teams and WebEx, and we talk work and we're off it. Nobody's asking, how are you? What's been happening? Nobody's asking these questions. It's very transactional. So that's what I feel.
Thank you, Shilpa. That was really very nicely put. And till you actually brought it up, it didn't occur to me that yes, in fact, I am also missing that love and belonging, because it's become a little monotonous to, from one meeting jump to another online meeting, and it's very mechanical now. There is no human touch. We are not able to see or feel the human touch. So I totally agree with what you're saying, and this was a aha moment for me, I would say. My next question is for Raja. And Raja, to you, I would like to ask, how and what has to be done to ensure employees continue to be productive and do their work as per standards?
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much, Shilpa, for that question. In fact, productivity is something which is very close to my heart. And thanks to Shilpa for introducing the Maslow's theory of hierarchical needs. And that really sets the agenda very right. Now, Saurav, can you bring up my slides, please? I have a few slides, quite a few slides, but I'll be kind of moving them very quickly. One slide, one short message. So just let's give some time for Saurav to bring up the slide. Saurabh, you can use the file one.
You can start. I will start doing it. You start the thing. I'm doing it.
Okay, perfectly fine. All right. See, productivity is very, very important. Now, like what Shilpa was mentioning, initially we were worried about the basic needs, physiological needs. Then we were talking about safety, security. Then we all felt happy that yeah, there is so much of bonding, getting to know each other, recollecting the fond memories by talking to our friends and all that was good. But then suddenly things started we being asked questions like what's going to happen, what's going to be the future, am I going to get my salary for this month, well, I'm working from home, am I going to get paid fully, am I going to continue to have my job, or there is an uncertainty. So a lot of the such stuff was happening, and hence it's important that we really kind of look at the people. People are the greatest asset we have, and I don't give value to the building or the other infrastructure or equipment, computers and all. They're all just things. But we need to really look at the human beings, the people, as the greatest asset. In your balance sheet, they should always remain on the asset side, not on the liability side. So that is where, as the leaders, all of us really need to take, I would say, extraordinary care, the compassion, and then talk to them openly, do a lot of communication, give them the comfort feeling that yes, we are there, we're all in it together, and it's a matter of time, whether it is 1 month or 3 months, we come back and we bounce back with renewed energy, and then we bring it back. But while people are going through this lockdown period, how do we earn money from the businesses, for the businesses, unless the organizations for whom we are working, if they are not getting their revenue, how are they going to pay the salaries, how are they going to pay the rents? So that is where it's absolutely essential for every employee to be highly productive, to be more productive than what they used to be before, because that the situation demands that we need to be highly productive. So that's where I want to spend few slides explaining, starting with the basic definition of productivity, and then bringing in some very specific examples. I'm going to take the examples in the context of skill development, but all of you, all the attendees can apply to your own environments. So Saurabh, will you be able to bring it up, or I can continue? No problem, because I know what it is.
I would suggest you start off and Saurav will take it forward. He will add the slides.
I am just doing it. Meanwhile, this will be also sent to the people. So go ahead, Raj. Just give me 1 minute.
Yeah, no problem. So the first and foremost thing is the the message that we need to give to all our employees, all our teams, is to be safe, stay safe. Whether you are working from home, or you are traveling to office, or you're doing whatever you're doing or you've been asked to do, stay safe. Because we are going through so many uncertainties. This COVID-19, we can't even see. Using some of the best microscopes, we can't even see. this is such a small, tiny thing, but it has shaken the entire world. It has not spared the presidents of the biggest countries. It has not spared the developed nations. So that is where we need to give the comfort feeling and reiterate the message that stay safe, whether you are at home or in the office. So stay safe, stay healthy, stay excited. Don't feel bad or don't feel kind of disappointed or depressed. So it's very important that you stay safe, stay healthy, stay excited, and then finally during this period also stay skilled. You must utilize this time to kind of acquire new skills, upskill yourself, and then so that you become more productive, and finally stay productive. So that's my first message. Now the second message is with respect to COVID-19. It has a huge impact: political impact, environmental impact, social impact, and also technological impact. So many new technological things are coming, and like for example, most of the members on this panel, well, some of us may be very familiar in terms of using webinars and all, others are not. So like even the senior most leaders are getting adopted to these new technological, and that's the need of the hour. So please ensure that we kind of get adapted to all these new technologies. And then the third, which is the direct response to your question, Shilpa, sorry, Shruti, is in terms of being productive. Now, the dictionary meaning of productivity is what is the output that you get divided by the input that you put in. Suppose if you spend 2 hours in developing a code or doing a particular work or doing whatever is assigned to you, what is the output? So the measurement output divided by input is called the productivity. Now, if 100 is the input and if 100 is the output, so that means like, it's 1. Whereas 100 is the input, but output is only 80, then 80 divided by 100, it's only 0.8. You need to really think in terms of how you become more productive. So what I'm here saying is, if the output can be 150 with only input of 100, that means your productivity is 1.5. So how is it going to happen? It's going to happen. You got to use the best tools. You got to use the best processes. And that is where the job of a leader comes into picture. How do we equip our team members in terms of providing those processes, providing those tools, and also training them on how to utilize those tools and technologies and techniques so that they become more productive. And finally, all this needs to be translated into rupees earned for the organization. If organization revenue gets increased, if organization's profitability is improved, then organization will take care of all the employees. So that's what I wanted to say. The productivity, provide them with the tools, train them properly so that they become more productive, they produce more than what they used to do. And once we come back to complete normal, it may not be like a pre-COVID normal, whatever is the new normal, as Saurav was saying, we will continue to be more productive than what we used to be before. So that's my response to you, Shruti. I'm sorry we are not able to share the slides, but I've conveyed those 3 short messages. Stay safe and understand that there is so much environmental changes that are taking place. Don't panic. Just be the change agent, be tech savvy, be productive, be a passionate learner. So and then the third one is just be productive. Yeah, Shruti, over to you.
Thank you so much. I must say that even though the presentation was not working, you were crystal clear and your message went on really, really clearly. It was really impactful, made a lot of sense to, I'm sure it made a lot of sense to everybody, at least to me, it was great sense. Thank you so much for bringing that up and with so much of detail. Thank you so much. The next thing that's playing on the mind is about employee communication. Raja has already indicated about communication, and I now would like to take it further. So the next question is for Ajit. And Ajit, I would like to hear from you as to what kind of communication has to be sent out to employees, by who, and how frequently that has to happen.
Thank you. Thank you, Shruti. And good morning, everyone. I think that the communication, I would put it that how good is the engagement? I think how we should engage. I think Raja touched upon the specific point that being productive, for the tools required, and Shilpa also mentioned the large flows. I think it fits in the overall scheme. Question is that how do we keep the engagement? So I'll share a few things, which is that what we are following currently in NASCOM, and then at the same time, we also hear our member companies are following to keep the people engaged. I think this is very crucial because during this time, even though you have the tools and you have everything, but you know that how it can hit psychologically and all other aspects because so much of uncertainty is there currently. So from that point of view, like I'll start with first at the employee engagement at the manager level. That what you as manager, like if you'd have been before the COVID situation, before this whole thing happened, that how were you engaging in the office? Minimum you should say hi, hello, and have a chit chat over a coffee. That minimum you should maintain that. It requires a lot of effort, but even though not on a video call, minimum every day connect for quick 2 minutes. Okay, everything is fine. What else we can do? Anything that is concerned you, bothers you. I think that kind of the manager should have that one-on-one connect. Give a try, even though not in a day, minimum once in a 2 days should have that connect. Second part is that as a group, like whichever the unit or the group that you do. For example, in mine, so generally, as my weekly operating review, now I have moved it to a daily review. It is not like operating review minimum daily. I have all my DRs along with all the people. Let us connect on a video chat and let's say that how is it going? Is there anything happening in your society? Did you attend any specific meeting today? Why not to share something what others can learn from that? So what happens? It is like creating an environment where everyone thinks that okay, they're still in the office, they're sharing this one, they're sharing the chit chat, like who did good, paratha yesterday. That it creates that environment. They don't feel the difference. Okay, that's pretty much they're engaged. That's what I do. I see that people are nowadays initially out of my 22. The people that is there in my unit, initially started with 15 people, and this one. Nowadays, I can see the people would be there before I join because they just want to be there because throughout the day they are in the multiple other calls, client call, customer call. This is the time they feel that okay, they are part of a group, part of a unit, and which they used to be there in the office before, and they can come and openly talk about anything which happens, apart from anything on the business side as well, which is the second part. The third part is that, when you are looking at as an organization setting, we are also having a leadership talk. Specifically, our president has done, and I know that okay, many of the company CEOs, I'm sure Raja must be doing for the whole company that he's leading, and I'm sure that you must be seeing in the LinkedIn and other updates as well. That CEO addresses the larger team. It is a one-time webinar, one-side thing happens, and which is good because mainly it have a kind of a communication. Then of course at the end we have very open half an hour session and on a question answer where people can ask the questions what is happening, like Raja mentioned, a lot of uncertainty there. People can ask that what is happening in the market, for what he or she feels being in the senior leadership position and connected to the other people, other leaders, what the other leaders think. So it creates that feeling of security that I am aware what is happening. My leaders shares with me what is happening. So I think that this engagement and the communication should be at this three level. Of course, that apart from that, I can see that okay, we do once in a fortnight a Monday morning catch up on like singing competition. Some create a video for all the team for the larger organization. Those things can be papered, added, but I think these three are pretty much crucial that every organization should do to keep the people engaged and have a good communication rigor around that.
Thank you, Ajit. That kind of addresses a little segment of what Shilpa had raised a concern about, that human touch is missing. So maybe with this kind of activities, we will feel that sense of belonging still continues. You're right about that. So taking the session further and talking about employee communication, in this hour, it's very difficult phase for employees, especially to be responsive. And management is expected to be a little more responsive and empathetic towards the employees. So what kind of communication is to be sent out is what we are discussing. But around this time, my question to Surajit is, what kind of policies you see that will be formed to suit the changing need? There is so much of a need of different kind of policies and different kind of communication that is to be rolled out, informative communication to be rolled out. And on those lines, what kind of policies you see that will be formulated in the changing needs? Surajit.
Okay. Hi, good morning. A couple of quick things. I'll also touch upon some of the things that my fellow panelists have spoken about. First and foremost is, let me just start off from the communication part, and I'll roll over to the policy part. With regard to communication, especially organizations which are very large, I mean, small organization, most of it is a no-brainer, as in that you'll have to reach out to these people, talk to them more frequently, that's it. But when you're talking about organizations which have, tens of thousands of people, and how do you make this communication effective? A couple of things that we kind of encountered, and it's worth sharing, is that first and foremost, the understanding that the communication from the top, which necessarily needs to talk about positives, positive things, future, good things likely around the corner kind of stuff, and also constantly trying to understand the information from below, which keeps coming to you, and figuring out what the challenges are. Because whatever challenges are to the individual, even outside the workplace, has a very, very clear bearing on what he does at his work. Now, when the number of people are very, very large, how do you ensure that this two-way communication continues to happen effectively, right? So firstly, creating the structure as in a free flow between the bottom and the top with all the people. So who speaks to which level and how they take on these individual teams, and these teams in turn take over the other team, creating the structure, formalizing the structure, providing inputs in terms of competencies around the people who manage this structure. All of this needs to be put in place. So the structure, the competency around it, the framework around it, and how it will happen, what kind of calendar, periodicity, all of that. And that, I think, requires a little bit of application of mind, and added to that, the fact, a sincere amount of commitment that I actually want to be doing this. People are talking of communication. I somewhere see, and without pointing fingers, I somewhere see people who kind of do it because that's the flavor of the season. It's very important to do this communication because you feel committed to doing this, and that it's going to deliver value to you. On the communication piece, I will leave this aspect right here, and maybe we can revisit it as the conversation goes forward. But in terms of policies, let's look at it this way. Some organizations specifically provide remote services or consulting or information. For them, it's not very difficult to go into a work from home mode. In operational organization, where it's about contact, dealing with people, it's very difficult. How do I transition? In our case, I'll just add one more thing to it, and that is when initially operations came to a grinding halt, we had these large chunk of operations people and these relatively smaller chunk of support people. Support people is easy to deal with. So you tell them, okay, you work from home, this is how workflows will happen, you do it, etc. What do you do with this large chunk of people who are operational people and their work itself does not allow for work from home, right? So that became a huge challenge for us, and I'm sure it's become a challenge for a lot of organizations. And from a policy perspective, here is something that I will say, and I would really ask others to respond to that as well, is that, two things. One is, here is an opportunity for us to let people move from one role to another, given what kind of background they come from, their competencies as assessed by their seniors, the opportunity that exists within the organization. And two is when the business has shrunk, the requirement of inputs from employee would have also shrunk, right? We have one of two ways of dealing with it. We can either say, okay, my 100% has become 60%, so I let go of 40% or 50%, one. Alternately, I say, okay, 60% is what I need, and therefore, is there an opportunity either to get people to transit roles as and when applicable, and how do we manage that? Or do we across the board say, here is an opportunity for us to convert the entire utilization into a rota and say, everybody works in a particular manner. So say if 1/4 effort or utilization has to go away, then everybody does not work for a week, right? And create a rota around. I'm just giving an example. So, if there's a 4-week to a calendar month, everybody takes 1 week off. And, then we plan the calendar so that utilization across happens. Now, this is something we kind of worked around with, and I would sincerely ask any of you to kind of respond to this.
So I guess the responses can either come by message or we can have a poll right now.
While the responses are coming, let's have the first poll. Maddie, can you project the first poll? Yes. Let's see. So, how has been the last 90 days of this ever-changing world? How do you feel? So, go on, vote. Online now.
Saurabh, while the votes are coming in, hello.
Yes.
Yeah, while the votes are coming in, I just wanted to share something that I heard the other day, is that when all this is over sometime.
Great, go on, Surajit.
Yeah. I was saying that when all this goes off sometime later, when things come back to maybe an earlier situation, it may well be that you look back on these days and say that I always wanted a little bit of a break where I could learn something or teach something. Yeah, and this time has gone away and I didn't manage to do it.
Yeah, many people are thinking that way. Yeah, late reaction.
Yeah, but I'm saying this period is also meant to be experienced and maybe enjoyed in a different kind of way.
Absolutely. Okay,
on
so
the
I
policy
guess
point, I think, yeah.
Sorry.
So to continue on the Suraj's view on that one, which is really relevant, but majorly from the IT, because being in IT industry and now part of the NASCOM, who helps the IT industry and the work with the government to come out with the policies. I think policies during this time are very crucial. I think that is two level, I would say. One is the definitely institutional level policies, which is that the government level, the policies, what kind of data, like the work from home policy. I'm sure all of us know that initially when this whole thing happened, that the whole industry along with NASCOM rallied to the government to relax few of the policies which was not allowing the working from home. This one, the guideline was changed, and this one to create that environment. So that is one part. And second part is that at the organization level also, that they're looking at what are the policies that will going to be a permanent fix. For example, the Twitter and or a few of the, like for the TCS, they are changing their completely the hiring policies, the deployment policies, so that in future 75% of their job, that is pretty much aspirational target, but they're looking at that how do we create the whole HR policy and everything else to enable that 75% of the people work from home wherever possible. It may happen that so Mr. Suruji said that many of the companies will only have support staff of 5 to 10% or 15% can only work. But now the question is that should the companies change their policies that which will enable the work from anywhere, because that is what the term is going to be. Work from home is just a initial landing concept currently, but in future I'm looking at work from anywhere. Why do I have to stay in Delhi? If I'm working from home, I can be rather in my home state of Odisha, correct? So that if I don't have to come to the office. So I think that is company have started seriously looking at. It's all about coming back that am I creating an environment where the people can deliver, and there are already the like last 3 months reports coming in that people are more productive in specific roles working from home than coming to office, where they used to spend 2 to 3 hours on the road and all other the things which is happening. So I think so it is definitely a things that the organization look at the policy. Government is already looking at changes to the policies, how to make it happen for specifically for the people, for the employees.
Thank you. Thank you. That was really a good dimension to what we were discussing. Thank you for adding that. And now we have our next poll open for our audiences. The question is, what would you prefer working when we move to normalcy? Would you want to work from home, work from office? Would you like shared working, which is office and home? Or would you wait for office mandate? The poll is now open.
I'm sure the attendees can vote any point of time, or it is only a particular point of time they can answer 1, 2, or 3 of these polls.
They must answer now so we can end the poll.
Oh, is it okay? Okay.
The last 30 seconds to end the poll before we move on. Okay, let's move on. Maddie, if you can publish the results of the 2 polls. I think the first one was really great in terms of how the poll resulted. It's a perfect, kind of normal curve we are getting.
So here I see 62% of the people prefer shared working, which gives them a choice to work either from home or office.
Yes, and we have the leaders over here from the industry. I hope they are carrying the message back. People are wanting a balance.
Right. Now let's
Maddie,
go further.
Maddie, the previous poll results, just for a second, if you can publish it. Yeah. Oh, this is what I was telling. Yeah, I could see the results. So a great, equal distribution of people. They felt frustrated, they enjoyed it, but they said that it was too much of work. All the 3 things, all emotions coming out.
Yeah. Or maybe one emotion every month.
And that's what I said. We have a mixed poll. We don't know the consensus yet. Okay, Shruti, all to you.
Thank you. Thank you. So taking this conversation further, I would like to now ask Aman. Aman, there is so much of negative communication happening in the market where people have this fear that companies would shut down, there would be, they would get terminated, and They may not have their basic living, the bread and butter for their living. With so much of negative news in the air, how do you think management or organizations should address this negative communication that's spreading in the news? Aman.
Thank you so much, Shruti. Thank you. Namaskar, everybody. Such a pleasure to be here, and thank you, Saurabh, for having me over. There's some disturbance in between. Is it at my end, or is it somebody can mute? Saurabh, are you on mute, please?
I'm on mute. I'm on mute.
There's this constant buzzing sound that's coming in. I'm not sure if you guys can hear me.
Yeah, you can be heard. You can be heard.
Yeah.
Pretty clear.
You are heard well.
Yeah. Okay. Done. Very, very pertinent and important question that you have asked, Shruti. There is negativity, and मेरा ये मानना है that we tend to get attracted to negativity very easily. And in such a scenario when there is a lot of ambiguity, we don't know. We don't know what this corona is all about. We don't know what the industry, where it is heading, क्या होने वाला है. यहाँ पर तो जान पे बनाई है लोगों के लिए, so and in such a situation, we get bogged down, and it all boils down to then we take this to our office scenario, and as Raja mentioned, that productivity मुश्किल होता है, it is. I'm sorry, there's a lot of disturbance. May I ask everybody to go on mute? I don't know, there's some system here. Should all of us be on mute?
They are on mute. I have muted everybody.
Okay, thank you so much. Don't mute me and Shruti. Okay. My thinking, still some noise. Anyway, I'll manage that. My thinking is that let us understand as to where the negative communication stems from. क्यों होता है? I'm not focusing on the communication or the negative news that we get in the media or WhatsApp University. No. In fact, I'm not a news person. I don't read newspapers. I don't watch TV. Nothing. Zero. My focus is on the organization, because that's where we are talking about organizational resilience. How does this negative communication or feeling stem from? If there is insecurity amongst us, every one of us are feeling somewhere or the other, we are insecure about the future, we are anxious about it. Under such circumstances, how can an organization be more resilient? How can our people be more resilient? As a leader, what is it that I can do to ensure that my people are safe? Not only that, physically, emotionally, that their well-being is being taken care of. If there are relationship issues between my organization and the employees and the customers, there is bound to be negative communication coming in. If there is guilt from the management, can be any reason why I feel guilty as a leader. If there is not much of collaborative work happening in the organization, negative communication is bound to happen. If my survival is at stake as an individual, as a human being, and as an organization, my outlook, my perceptions, everything is bound to be negative. Under such circumstances, how do I manage? Well, being authentic, being honest, being empathetic. Empathy, I feel, is one of the major skills, not skills, but a trait that under such circumstances we need to, insaniyat jisko kehte hain, humanity. If I am not able to understand your point of view as to what is it that you are thinking and where you come from, as a leader, how am I supposed to connect with you? It is not possible. So as a leader, I would want to understand your point and accordingly frame my communication, frame my relationship with you. We've always spoken about communication top to bottom, and Surajit ji ne bola, Raja ji ne bhi bataya uske बारे में. मेरा भी ये मानना है that transparent communication always flows from top to bottom. Leadership is the second aspect that I'd want to focus on under such circumstances. Becomes very critical in circumstances of crisis, okay, and which is now currently we are facing. As a leader, if I am not at the forefront, if I am not with the people, I am not on the ground with them, becomes difficult for me to manage. यहाँ तो हम negative communication की बात कर रहे हैं. It ultimately boils down to productivity. So it's a whole scenario. All aspects that needs to be plugged in. Work from home situations आ जाता है जहाँ पे people talk so many things about, हो जाता है, फर्क पड़ता है. Am I providing flexible options to my people, to my employees? Am I providing critical feedback to them? Okay, am I being with them? How am I managing virtual teams? Are my people undergoing stress? How am I understanding the pulse of it? Well-being is one thing which is going to be the foremost, at the front. Social well-being, emotional well-being, professional well-being. ये सबको अगर मैं ध्यान में रखता हूँ as a leader, then I think 90% of the negativity can be taken care of, and it all boils down to our connect with people. These are my thoughts. Over to you, Suti. Suti, am I audible?
Shruti, you are in mute.
Shruti is
No.
in mute. Hold on.
No.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I hope I'm audible now.
Yeah, you are. Yeah.
So thank you, Aman, for bringing that, and it was really very nicely explained. Now let's move to the next theme, which is striking the balance between employee continuity and business leadership. Here, there are a lot of needs of the employees. At this point in time, they are finding it difficult to adopt the new changes in their life. Their productivity is at stake. So my question to Raja is, how do you accelerate individuals' learning curves so that they can be more productive?
Yeah, okay. In a way, I would say COVID-19, though it has impacted everyone, but there is, I think, an upside in the whole thing. Let me tell you, as far as my organization is concerned, I have close to 500 people working across the country. And we have really been very, very productive. There are so many things which we could not accomplish over a period of time. We are now able to do it during the last couple of months. I'll give specific examples. Like, we all set some nice policies with respect to employees. We say all good things, but when it comes to real implementation, we miss out. Not because we don't have the intention, but we get carried away with so many other things. Something or other comes up on priority. I'll take one example. The annual appraisals of all the employees. An employee who works for the organization and looks forward to, for the annual appraisal. He or she wants to know how well he or she has done, and then finally an increment or a bonus or incentive or whatever, promotion or additional responsibilities. And in our organization, there have been huge delays. Like even after completing the anniversary date, 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, we were not able to close it. Now our HR team taken it as a challenge, and in the 1 month, they kind of brought all the pending cases to a closure. So that's just an example. Like that, many of the things which we really wanted to do to kind of be an employer of choice, to kind of satisfy our employees, which we could not do, helped us to do it. How it has been possible is by getting the people together. Now, just because we were all at home and we don't want to be sitting there and just doing nothing. So we got into this concept of online training. We got people. Now go back to the second file, Saurabh. So we said, let's train our own people. So we have used these online training just to train our own people, not only in terms of training them on the processes to be followed, also reviewing the performance of the individuals and as well as the team, setting the specific goals or targets for a particular team, on a weekly basis, on a daily basis, on a monthly basis, publishing the dashboards, then reviewing them on a continuous basis. So we have taken up this major initiative called online training, beginners online training, and our organization has maximum number of trainers. So it's not only to kind of train them on how to use the online training tools and all, but also to train them to become an effective trainer, to become more efficient, and also use this platform to kind of develop more content. So there are many benefits of online training. I'm not going to go through it, but clearly we must spend enough time. We must invest our resources and then put them through these learning curves so that they come up to speed at a shorter period of time. Now, another good thing that happened, especially in our organization, is earlier leadership team, like all of us visit different centers. Like I visit Jaipur or some other place in Kerala. Across we are operating in 19 states, but that visit happens maybe once in 6 months or once in 9 months. Now, and only when I visit there or any of my senior leadership team members when they visit, we used to have an half an hour, 1 hour team interaction, and it was limited. So the associates working at the remote locations, they're only confined to a small team of 10, 15, 20 people. They see that as their world. But again, thanks to this, we all got together, all 500 people suddenly, we're all like, kind of brought together as one family, as one team. And then, we are all, feeling as if we are sitting next to each other. So the leadership interactions have intensified many times. In fact, our calendars look more busy than what it used to be, and busy in terms of what we want to do, what we plan to do. Earlier, when I go to office, I have a list of 3-4 things that I want to accomplish during that day. But what would happen is I get interrupted with so many transactions. Some of them need my attention, and most of them don't need my attention. But just because I'm physically present in the office, people just walk in and then try to kind of bounce off something with me. Now, when you are working from home, it's all so well planned. The calendar is very well scheduled, and then you really accomplish what you want to do. So the bottom line is, we must invest our time. We must put in the leadership time in terms of putting all the people through these learning curves so that they become very productive. Now, good thing is not only just, you help them being productive, you must tell them where they stand. Like as management guru says, Peter Drucker, he says, what gets measured gets improved. So it is very important that you start measuring all these important metrics, what I call them as business big whys or goals or functional big whys, and at organization level, at the team level, at the individual level. So once you have these measurements well defined in the form of metrics, output metrics, and you start publishing them, so I as an individual know where I stand, what progress I'm making, and then I as an individual know how I'm comparing myself with my colleagues, with my team members. So this is a continuous process. Train them well, give them the necessary tools, invest your time, make them more productive, have a nice measurement system, publish dashboards, and then have reviews on those dashboards so that they know where they stand and they know what they need to do in order to improve. So that is what we need to do. Thanks, Shruti. Over to you.
Thank you, Raja. Thank you for bringing this up. When the entire world was like shaky as to what's going to happen next, you and your organization had a different perspective. You invested time, effort, and money in bringing up the skills of your employees, sharpening their saw so that once they are back to the field, they will be able to outperform themselves. So what a beautiful way of looking at making your employees more productive. That was amazing. Now, my next question is to Aman. Aman, how do you care for and nurture and encourage resilience in people?
How do we care and nurture and encourage? First of all, before I start, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Ji, thank you. My compliments to you, Raja, for all the good work that you've been doing. Resilience, मेरे हिसाब से comes with maturity and wisdom. Okay, everybody cannot be resilient, and I cannot expect you to be resilient, or you cannot expect me to be resilient in a particular situation. It needs to be it needs to come from within. I will share my thoughts. May not be structured in a structured way, but whatever comes to my mind. It also depends on our personality. I don't know. Just one thought comes to my mind that during this lockdown, we came across so many migrants who were traveling. They traveled thousands of kilometers. They walked. They did whatever they could. They exhibited resilience, high level of resilience. Were they taught? No. Were they educated? No. हमारे जवान देख लो. They are standing on the border. They are resilient, aren't they? Our watchmen, our doctors, they were not told to be resilient, but I think it stems from being self-aware. How much you know of yourself, your goals in life, and your environment. They took a decision that I'm going to be on the border, come what may. They have no idea who Shruti, I, Raja, or Saurabh is, but they are there. And it's a calculated risk that they are taking. And the highest risk there is that you might lose your life, but they're still there. So ये सवाल जब आता है तो I feel that maturity, wisdom है, तुम्हारी personality है, उस basis के ऊपर तुम्हारा होता है. But जरूर as an organization, how do I ensure that my people are more resilient? I can't send them to a training program to become resilient. Though there are, Saurabh has designed a program on resilience. Maybe I might send them for a course there. But jokes apart, लोगों को जो करना है वो अंदर से आना चाहिए, and we create a conducive environment, which again, at the cost of repeating, communication, empathy, connect with people, well-being उनके बारे में. Why don't we include families also? When we are talking about work from home, I'm sitting in my living room. I may not have the facilities like everybody else. I may not have the bandwidth. I may not have the connectivity. And I am still asked to perform. I'm still asked to be productive. I'm still asked to deliver. How do I do that? Mushkil hai. As a leader, then I need to understand. And if I were to rope in their families, if all of us are in this together, that will also help and nurture resilience in my employees, because they feel that my management is with me. I send a couple of flowers to them on some occasions. I send a cake. I do something for the family. जहाँ पे family मेरे employees को support करेगी, that will make him more stable, more mature, okay, more inclined. The affiliation towards the organization will increase, and hence I feel that the resilience will also increase. If there is no social, humans are social animals. Work from home will reduce, as Shilpa was mentioning earlier, कि कहाँ आएगा वो, चाय के ऊपर बातें हो रही है, सिगरेट पी रहे हैं, घर पे मैं नहीं कर सकता हूँ. So as a leader, how do I ensure that my people stay connected with each other? In between, I think I forget the name, but he mentioned that you have antakshris, you have games on Zoom or whatever platform that you are using. These things will help connect people with each other, and hence resilience will come. And growth and comfort don't go hand in hand. If I want to grow, I have to get out of my comfort zone. मैं आराम से बैठे हुए भैया चल रहा है और मुझे grow करना है. Not only my functions, my profession, but my organization also should grow. मुश्किल है. No, it won't happen. And if you were to use a couple of examples, that all of us know what Mahindra did. They started manufacturing ventilators. What Hilton is doing, or what Lamborghini did. ये सब तो available है. At the ground level, how am I ensuring that my people come out of the comfort zone? कहाँ से आएगा वो adverse conditions में ही मिलता है वो. इससे पहले, were we talking about resilience? Yes, there were sessions, there were conferences happening, but probably it was 20%, 30%. Now it is the other way around. 80%, 90% of people are talking about resilience. Why? Because adversity has struck mankind. And in such a situation, how do we survive? We've survived? Okay, thank you very much. Now, how do we grow, how do we thrive. So these are the things that will push us, make us more stronger mentally, emotionally, socially, professionally, everything. So yeah,
Thank
थोड़े
you.
से ख्याल आता है, and I will then continue again later on if मौका मिलता
Thank
है.
you,
Thank you.
Aman. Thank you so much. Yeah, Sarojit, you wanted to add something.
Yeah, okay. Amanji, this was excellent, whatever you shared, and I'll just pick up a little bit of a thread from that. You spoke about environment, and two pieces of information that I seem to hear, and it resonated well with me. One is the fact that there was an organization which said that when they started a review call, a video call in the morning at 9, they realized after a while that at 9 o'clock most people, their children were getting into a video call for their classes. So the parents would tend to be a little busy at that time. And becoming cognizant of that the organization actually moved their review meetings from 9 to 11 in the morning. That is one thought. Two is this concern that when you're on a video call, you have to be properly attired, properly groomed, perfect background. Everybody's home does not allow this, and therefore organizations which have said it doesn't matter. I mean, you don't need to be greatly turned out to be on a video call, and therefore let it be flexible. You may be in a small house and may not offer all kinds of space, and there'll be your children walking behind you, there'll be your dad walking behind you. It's perfectly all right. So this, and I wanted to add a third point to it, which is resilience, to my mind, being an emotional and a mind thing. My understanding is resilience begets resilience. What that means is, in the entire system of an organization, there will always be some people who are more resilient than others. They are kind of resilience torch bearers, if I may use the term. And if that is the truth, then is there a way of using resilient people to connect with other people and build on their resilience to arrive at a aggregated and across the organization resilience? So that is one way of doing it. Just as you do change management and change agents, similarly you do resilience and resilience agents, kind of, and maybe build on that.
Does culture play a role in this?
Very high, very high. Except what happens is that culture very often is comes from the top man, right, from the top. And sometimes, given our unusual circumstances today, to bring that around may be a larger change which will take time and may get difficult. Resilience is something which is more individual thinking trait driven, and therefore can we get a collective of resilience? My sense, and I'm not sure whether I'm correct, my sense is it's possible to build on that, and you can build on that by using people who are committed to resilience from within. That was the thought.
Thank you. Over to you, Shruti.
Thank you so much for adding that. Now, Ajit, I have a question on workforce cost for you. When operation continuity is a challenge, like Surjit had earlier mentioned, that there are some industries where operation continuity is a challenge, but they also have the financial prudence. So there has to be a balance between the two. So Ajit, my question to you is, how would you identify and forecast where workforce shift needs to occur?
I think at multiple levels. It can be done, or it is being done. As in the last 3 months, we are ourselves doing, and we are seeing the organizations are doing on the similar lines. I think the one part is that how, again, as a policy, that what we are advising the ministries, the government, like for example, we advised some time back that government should look at helping in the furloughs for the companies or for the employees who are really impacted because of this operational shift or because of the volume drop or because of the revenue drop. I'm sure that a lot of article came on that, NASCOM representing on that one and saying that, okay, if the government can, step in and see that, okay, IT industry also in that, apart from the larger that government is looking at this one. But in terms of when it comes to the specific industry, I would say that 2-3 things should be looked at. One is that how the employees and inside the organization, how we can be flexible in terms of utilizing them where there is a larger volume or larger shift in the work is happening during this time. For example, online based work, like if it is supply chain, that a lot of people are required to cater to the online requests which is coming in for the company. For us, for example, like we're building a new platform, so a lot of people now has been repositioned into the new activities coming in because the traditional activity which we used to do before the COVID has completely grounded currently at this point of time. Nothing is happening. So what we're doing is that we're reevaluating the people competencies, and that is why there are a lot of discussion and the study also shows that this point of time the company is looking at people who are flexible, who are ready to learn new things, and so that okay the company can use them and deploy somewhere else. Second part is that where is that the operational cost can be reduced. I think, for example, by design or by the way that the companies are now working, there a lot of the capex spent has been coming down. The new the buildings, the people's travel cost, the office cost, and which is generally happens, the transportation cost as such that has been reduced. On top of that, we as an organization, we're also looking at can we anyway look at the reducing the IT cost, even though that no IT cost has a fixed element into that, but because the volume is not there, because of the transaction is not happening, is there any way I can reduce my the IT cost, operational cost on that one. So like that, I think that if we go that one, the cost line item, there is maybe a lot of opportunities are there to reduce the cost. But I think so that's why that we at NASCOM are looking at the people impact at the last cost reduction. I think that should be the way, but to not make it more comfortable, but we know that okay, we're in an unprecedented situation. That will be or already started the impact on the workforce. But question is that without that having that impact brought in, is there any way the organization can do to reposition the people, to reskill the people, to upskill the people and move the people into the area where the organization has the volume, has the business, has the revenue, and of course the organization should look into the reduction cost in somewhere else, not on the people cost. And maybe that the people cost can be like Mr. Surajit was saying that okay, can we work only 3 weeks rather than 4 weeks and proportionately keep the job but not at the same salary. That is also the something that you look at. I think this all are combination. I think that there is no single bullet for solution. I think every organization based on which business or which industry they are in, that specific solution has to be brought in to address specifically the workforce impact that is going to be brought in.
Thank you so much, Ajit. That was a nice perspective that you shared with us. Surajit, I would like you to please help us understand how do you assess the optimal shift in your workforce, both in number and skills?
Okay. You see, what has happened now is we are in a little bit of an unfortunate situation. And the situation is that the business requirement has dropped to a level where most organizations are completely over-resourced. So from a cost perspective, there's one thing. There is also the other aspect, which is how do we not only manage the direct cost of employees, but we also look at the related costs. In fact, one of the panelists had mentioned earlier is that companies like PCS, etc., who have moved on and to a complete work from home, a lot of real estate, office space, etc., has been freed up. So those costs have completely come up. The challenge here, and I just wanted, I think I must have missed it in my earlier, what I covered, is that people who have moved from where they were to some other locations and are working from home, there are sometimes infrastructural challenges which are there. So be it in terms of what kind of assets they have, the linkage to Wi-Fi, the connectivity, etc. All these are challenges. Two, there are costs that individual bears for all of this. Now, in a situation where you will say things are not going well, what is it? I mean, you at least have your job, so do it from wherever you can. But the truth, in the mind of the employee is thinking, here I am contributing something and I have a cost. Why isn't the organization even considering that? So that being one. Two is, at a larger level, how do we make infrastructure, etc., available so that work from home becomes a much more seamless kind of a experience? All of this are very, very important in today's times. And honestly speaking, we move to a certain level of operations. We really don't know going forward what level are we going to come to. So if I was to take my current organization's experience to all of you, we have people who are trained in a particular way, are certified by the regulator, and then they come to work. Now, are you going to let them go? If you are going to let them go and tomorrow things change and there is a scale up to whatever level you are at, how will you get the people? How will you train them? How will you get them to get certified? Important questions. How is the rest of the industry behaving in terms of this talent? So are you collaborating with the rest of the organizations in the industry? All these are questions which, some of which we've been able to discuss, some of which are still in the air, which have never even got addressed. So we are going through these transitions. These are questions that will be there, and very important for us to figure out what the answers will be, are, as we go forward.
Thank you, Sergey. While we are talking about all these things, one thing that occurred to me at the back of my mind is we're talking about the pandemic, the impact of pandemic on human race. But somewhere down the line, I've been observing that it is only the human race which has got affected because of the pandemic. So I wonder if nature has got some clue for us. Shilpa, what's your take on this, Shilpa?
Yeah, Shruti, I was talking to you about this yesterday, right? And number one, I'd like to address the question of resilience. I think we make it very big. As Aman, you were saying, I mean, there's the watchmen and the people on the border who are facing much more extreme circumstances. And resilience to me is just three simple things. Number one, feel all your feelings, good, bad, and ugly. Once you feel them, you move to a place of accepting what's happening right now. From there, you move to a place of living in the present. And there's a beautiful quote that Rumi has, that start walking on the path and the path will appear. So somewhere, I mean, it's not like the olden times where we could plan yearly budgets and all of that. We are not living in that reality. There are two things that keep occurring to me again and again, that how come we are the only beings on the planet who are not locked in? How come it's the animals and the birds and everybody else seems to be free? So there must be something in it for us to consider at a very spiritual level, that why are we as humans the only ones locked in? Maybe the universe is doing a reset and the universe is asking us to really introspect on, are we becoming human doings or are we remaining as human beings? And this brings me to the point which Saurav had spoken to me about, that, we're in corporate scenarios right now where there are quarter and quarter double digit growths that are sometimes required. And I often ask myself, why? What's the cost of this? I mean, in December 2019, would all of us have thought, if somebody had told you you'll all be shut in at home, working from home, the travel would stop, nothing, airlines wouldn't be working, hotels wouldn't be working. Would you ever thought that would be a reality? So obviously something's changing. And I think it's time to reset as humanity and really reset, introspect. What is important? Are we becoming human doings rather than being human beings? That's my view on this, Shruti.
Thank you, Shilpa. That was really something to introspect. And yeah, maybe Mother Nature is giving us a clue that maybe we are becoming human doings, and it's time that we get to be human beings. Very
I
true.
think, Shruti, the nature has been giving us clues right from the beginning, but we've been deaf and dumb. We never
Yeah.
understood,
So this
and
time
hence
it's a stronger
now
clue.
danda laga raha hai abhi nature. So it's high time that we opened up our eyes and are conscious, and we give importance to nature that it deserves. We are only a travelers on this planet. So अपनी limit में रहो यार.
There's a program, by the way, and this is taking from what you said, Raja, that online stuff happen. There was a program that I wanted to do around resetting 2.5 years ago. And in this pandemic, sitting at home, I've started this program. I've rolled it out globally. It's called Reset Your Life. So it's all about, for leaders, reset, and individuals, reset. So yes, and there's a lot you can do virtually too. There's a lot of my own myths that are being broken.
Absolutely, I'm with you 100%.
And also, Aman, resilience is just there. It's not difficult. We're all resilient. As you said, we just need to be aware of it. I'm sorry, Saurav, but this is my view. We are all resilient. We just need to become aware that we are resilient. That's all.
Absolutely. Internally, we have been. Even the world wars being fought, still people came out. Japan was taken down to zero, and see where they are. It's all about the human, spirit, never ending.
Yes.
Okay, Shruti. So, how many we have got now?
We just have last two questions. One quick question to Raja here. Raja, after having heard all this, I would like to understand from you, is the future new normal or never normal? Will business ever get back to pre-crisis period state and losses get covered? How to move forward in the new world? This is one question that's pondering in everybody's mind, and this is a question that I've heard in every webinar that I've attended or I have led.
Well, okay,
So-
let me respond in two parts. One is there are industries which are not going to come back to normalcy very soon. Those industries are hardly, very badly hit. And those industries will take time unless they come up with a completely new strategy. Because just look at one simple example. If TCS is talking about 75% of TCS being the largest employer, if 75% of their workforce is going to work from home, what happens to all the real estate that they have been using so far? So, and so that sector is going to have a hit. And how many small, medium companies can really occupy the space which has been used by TCS? So if you look at, there are some industries, there are some sectors which are really badly hit, and they will continue to be in that situation for many months to come and maybe for few years to come. So those industries and those companies have to have a completely different strategy, a new strategy. Okay, I'm not suggesting that they have to move into a new industry, but even within the same industry, what else they can do, what differently they can do. So that is one. Now two is, for those industries, naturally they will come back to normalcy, but in a different way. The businesses will continue, we continue to perform, we continue to operate, and it will come back, but it will take
Tell
time.
him to take plan.
For those businesses, Again,
Ushan, still nothing later. Just tell him to take the plans right now.
Yeah. So you got to really think in terms of what are the newer ways of doing it. Again, I now come back. I started with this quote and I want to come back to this point because the entire theme for today is people resilience. So people are the greatest asset that we have. And again, going back to what Shilpa was mentioning, are we, looking at them as doing things or being like human beings? So same way the organizations and leaders have to look at people as the greatest asset and then do everything around them. If you can move on to the next slide, Saurav. So, there is a, proverb, if you really want 1 year of prosperity, then grow grain. Okay, this is, you're all familiar. Next slide. If you want 10 years of prosperity, you grow trees because they take time. By the time, they start yielding some fruits. But if you really want 100 years of prosperity, COVID or no COVID, something else may come up. Today it is COVID, something else may come up. So, but if you really want 100 years of prosperity, grow people. So that is where you must focus on. People are the greatest asset. You empower them, be with them, coach them, guide them, give them the comfort feeling. Tell them that we're all in it together and we will come out of it. But it has to be like, collective effort. Now, I want to also touch upon the points with respect to the communication. See, some leaders, or maybe I call them as managers, they are shying away in terms of being very transparent, being very open, because they feel that, if I say something, what would they think? No, I think people really understand. People really understand because it's not that they don't know what's happening around them. So take them into confidence, be very, very transparent, and you take care of your people. They will take care of your business. And I guarantee those businesses who really kind of take care of their people, they will produce outstanding results. They are going to be the differentiators. You will see them as the outstanding performers. They will be in the top quadrant. And there will be other players who will be somewhere in between. And there will be some companies or some industries who will become history. So it all boils down to how you deal with your people, how you take care of them. As I said, teach them, guide them, coach them, mentor them, give them comfort feeling, be with them, and that's it. They will take care of it. So if you can just move on to the next one. We did conduct a survey during this period. After 2 months of COVID, we've done that. We have done a lot of communication. As I said, we all have ideas. It's just that we don't find time to kind of implement our great ideas because we get bogged down into those transactions every day. So we spent so much of time with our people and we conducted this employee satisfaction score. I was personally surprised to see such high scores. You look at those things, in terms of job clarity, the vision, the mission, and access to managers, they're all like in the green zone. Even the ones which are in red zone, if you notice, they're also like 75 plus on the overall satisfaction score. So, it's just like taking a dip and then trying to do a sense check on what people think. And we are now clear in terms of how we want to scale it up further, how we improve our own, internal processes and how we make them, important so that they continue to be productive, they continue to be delivering outstanding performance. So that is how, as an organization, we all can become a successful organization. So that's how I want to end. It's going to be a different new world, and we got to respond to the thing. And this change is sudden. And for those people who kind of embrace this change, take it head on, and then make some drastic and dramatic changes in the way they treat, in the way they have the policies, the processes, the technology, then it's going to be a new world. So you will see some people emerging as the stars, and you will see some people continue to be battling in their own day-to-day operations. Over to you, Shruti.
Thank you, Raja. That was put very, very nicely. And yes, it definitely helped me understand better. My next question is to Ajit. Ajit, how do you collaborate internally across functions and externally across industries to connect people to the future work?
I think this time the collaboration is the more the emphasis we do, it is better, because that's the only way to get the things done at this current time. The more the collaboration options, the way to do that one comes out, it's the better. I said that, okay, while you have your own team on the engagement and collaboration to make things happen, but I think the other one, it is all about, get into a call, understand each other out, try to sort out the problem. I'll give a simple example. I think that during an hiring of one individual, something was missed out, that finance team were not kept in the loop part of the hiring process. It become specifically a personal, individualistic ego issue. Question that, can we go out of that and take it to next level of looking at the company benefit, what we are doing for the company, right or wrong, not an individual basis, how do we collaborate better to ensure that, okay, the outcome is reached, or the goal post, we reach the goal post. I think that is the key. That I would say that externally, of course, there is no way that you can achieve anything in the current situation. Like Raja knows that you need to collaborate with the government, with the NSDC, with the training partners. That is what we do. So we all the time we ensure that there is a way to have a conversation right away. Instead of keeping it at with you, thinking that over time will solve the problem and you will achieve the goal. It will not going to happen. Currently at this point of time, it's all about how do we all collaborate and achieve for both internally and externally. Of course, there are tools. We all know that we ourselves are all collaborating on this platform to do a webinar. Same way, there are multiple tools where the people can collaborate to make things happen. I think that is what it is, and it is, as I said, it is uncertain times, and we all should sort of understand that and make every effort to make our life better and make the output better.
Thank you.
Over to you, Shruti.
Thank you so much. Saurav, do we have any questions from the audience? Would you please read the questions?
Yes, there are questions, and Mary, can you start on that, on the segregation, and then find out quickly?
This was really one of the very interesting discussions that we've had today. Different opinions, different thought process, but all trying to work around the given situation that we are in and trying to bring the best out of the situation. So real great learnings from each one of you. I'm sure the audience are also going back home rich.
Absolutely.
So let's quickly have a look at their questions, and maybe the panelists can address their questions.
Okay, I'll just read out this question. This is addressed to you, Shilpa. Mental health issues becoming serious. Any practical tips?
Sorry?
Mental health issues becoming serious. Any practical tips or help organizations can provide?
Yes, there are organizations like ours, for example, and we are working on this on a level of physical as well as mental health. So when it comes to the physical, there are certain biotechnologists who are working with us that how do you make a workplace ready for people to feel safe to come back. Also, when it comes to the mental health aspect of it, it's important that employee assistance programs are put in place. The TCSs of the world have that, the larger organizations have that, but the medium size, the small organizations do not have that. So they can sign up with certain small other organizations to provide this to their employees. It's important to provide this. An employee assistance program where emotional needs are listened to. And especially when it comes to working, for example, I'm working for a PSU right now, and the PSU is complaining that the staff at the bank, it's a banking PSU. So the staff at the bank are just there. What can they do? They have to be there. It's an essential service. But who's actually listening to them? Their bosses, and they were complaining, our bosses are sitting in their head offices. They don't know what's happening. And So it's important that the bosses also go a little to the ground level, figure out what's happening here, and then provide the help that is needed accordingly.
Okay. I'll have another question. I think I'll put it to you, Shruti, on this. And this question is like this: due to pandemic, most employees are confused and not clear of their own future. HR aspects are impacted. How best are the HR managers and HR firms placed for their own survival? Do you think any major effects on HR domain or business, or no effect?
Thank you. Well, I've had who's who from the respective industry, and we were all discussing about the same thing all this while, that there is an effect, no doubt about it. But I guess all HRs are now geared up and they are doing their best. Most of the companies that I am associated with have their HRs putting in extra efforts in comforting people, in training people, in helping them understand and making them realize that this is the way forward in future, and this is no different. It's time to accept things, blend a little change in them, helping them change also. And that's why I see most of the HRs are working like more than 10 hours. It surprises me because all these years I've only heard people crib about the way HR works, but right now I'm seeing the real strength and potential that they have, and the way they are holding the entire organization and the employees together, giving them that feel that you're not alone and everybody's with you, and this is just a passing phase. We are evolving. So I have seen that happen literally, and that's why my confidence in the entire domain of HR has gone in very high. So I hope that answers the question.
Right. So one question, this is for you, Raja sir. Employees are only assets of capital owners to make more money. One virus has not taught us anything about this. So somebody wanting a comment on this.
Yeah, I'm actually, because I was not sure if we are going to get the time to respond to all the questions. I've already responded in the chat box, but I'll just mention it. See, for those companies who look at them only to look at employees only to make money, are in big trouble. Things are now different. And for those companies who really value them, as I said before, are going to continue in existence. So clearly, in any universe that you take a sample of 100 companies or whatever, you will have all kinds of organizations. So those people who are not understanding the criticality of the current situation, not understanding the value that employees bring to the table, in addition to helping them to earn money, are in trouble. So I think they will learn, and if they don't learn, they will out of existence. That would be my response.
Thank you, sir. So that's it. We had these many questions, and Saurabh, you can take over from here.
Okay, so great, panel, wonderful questions, and I hope good learning for everyone in the panel, as well as I guess for the entire attendees, those who have been there over the period in time. Yes, the numbers were actually increasing and decreasing. Might have been like this is the weekend, but I must say that overall we were holding more than 60% of the attention of the people. So that's a great thing to do, number one. And number two, being a weekend. So last but not the least, thanks a lot to all the panelists, each one of them, to take their own personal time out and help people understand the people perspective of what an organization resilience means to us. And thanks to everybody who also contributed towards the questions, understanding, because you will ask questions once you are attentive and being, having some constructive way to looking at stuff. Thanks to everybody, coming on for this webinar. If you have benefited, please tell at least 2 more people so that they can. We are going to do this for the next 5 weeks. Please tell it to at least 2 more people whom you want to help out with. We are going to next week come up with the workplace. How is the workplace changing for the new normal? We are having real great people to talk from in the panelist, right from Microsoft. We have got from Bangalore International Airport. Let's see. To make it more interesting, please get the buzzword going on the LinkedIn as well as the other social media. And thank you everyone. This has been an extended one, and sorry to keep you a little more than 20 minutes on this, but thanks a lot. Thanks everyone on the panel.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Saurabh.
Saurabh, for this
It was a
initiative.
great,
It was really wonderful coming across with all this rich panel. Thank you.
Thank you. Take care. Take care. God bless.
Bye.
All right. Thank you. Take care. Bye.
Bye.